Kevin Pham realized that finding him in Richmond Hill was an impossible task, so instead he contacted a man that he figured could help him out. This would be a sleazy Richmond Hill native named Timothy Lee. Timothy Lee was a street-level distributor just like Primo. So after getting in touch with Timothy, Kevin convinced him to set Primo up. So Timothy would contact Primo and set up a time to make a deal. January 8th, 2014. It's a freezing cold night in Richmond Hill. Primo is sitting in his red Lexus LS waiting for Timothy to pull up. Because this is business as usual, Primo is sitting in the car with his girlfriend Brenda and her brother Brandy. At 8 p.m., Primo sends his location to Timothy. So here come Timothy Lee and Kevin Pham. At 8:45, they arrive in a black Honda and pull beside them. They then lower their window and this was a shocking incident to the suburbs of Richmond Hill, but more importantly, Primo was the man in Toronto. I can't stress this enough. After his passing, all kinds of songs would reference his name. In fact, a Sick Thugs rapper would reference him by saying 2 in him and 1 in his girl. For many, this was the most important man in Alexandra Park, but Chinpac were not satisfied. They had another important rival in mind. Now that Primo was gone, Chinpac wanted the leader Peter Nguyen. February 4th, 2014. It's a Tuesday evening and Peter Nguyen is eating dinner at a restaurant in North Toronto. After finishing his sushi, Peter gets up and walks across the street to his car. But right there is Kevin Pham's older brother named Than Pham. And without hesitation, after a chase, Than Pham was arrested by police and taken to jail. This was the second leader that the Asian assassins had lost at the hands of Chinpac. Regardless, Chinpac was not done sending their message. Just 5 days later, they would strike again. February 10th, 2014. It's a freezing cold night in the West Toronto suburbs and an Assassins member named Hung Pham is driving home. At 10:30 p.m. he arrives in his neighborhood just a block down from his house. As he drives slowly through the snow, a car pulls right beside him, and without hesitation, bam! At this point, the assassins were being obliterated and they didn't know what to do. Without their leaders, they lacked unison and didn't have anyone to tell them what to do. But finally, 6 weeks later, the members would get a hold of a rival's address. This would be the address of a Chinpac member named Tan No. Tan No had become the most feared Chinpac member as rumors hit the streets that he was behind a lot of the incidents. Well, once the Asian assassins got his address, they decided to make a bold move. March 25th, 2014, 5:30 p.m. The Assassins members arrive at No's house on Symington Avenue. One member stays in the car while the other walks up to the door. He boldly knocks on the front door expecting Tan No to respond. But instead, an older man opens up who he was not expecting to see. Regardless, the member still makes his wild move. Police arrived in 10 minutes and identified the man as 64-year-old Nok No, the father of Tan No. When Tan heard about the news, he was crushed, and so was the entire community. Incidents like this are very rare in Canada, so police began serious investigations. Once they discovered the family's connections to Chinpac, they knew what this was all about. They didn't yet have proof, but they knew that the Asian assassins were behind this. Even though just a year prior they said that they weren't a problem, they now realized their mistake and they were gonna make up for it.